we start the debate immediately.
On parle en français ou en anglais?
English.
English, okay. I think that first the system, integrating the system, make the decision a little bit more difficult, I would say, that with the previous well-identified programs. My suggestion in this context, and due to the fact that there is a 2-year delay for supporting direct mobility, that on the basis of the workshop and all the discussion that we had yesterday about the priorities, what we heard about René this morning, and things like that, that we try to have I don't know how to call that, a sectoral activity or an alliance or whatever, trying to structure better what we would like to see. I think also an issue, and I think for RSN and for ourselves, it's the same thing. We want to be somehow open. It is not just and to have an open model. So it is important to think about how to open this and to really have a good model rapidly involving industry from both sides, so that R&D Maroc and other actors like the cluster, energy cluster in Tunisia will be very important. And then for this work, of course, we'll start as soon as possible. And then so I don't know when is the next deadline for alliance and so on. So we have to look at this.
Well, we at least for next spring, we hope that maybe usually in winter there were in the past some calls in November of the European Union, but we don't know in the new framework when will the new calls appear. At least in spring. So we think that we have what is the rest of the summer and the autumn to start to think and prepare possible actions.
Yeah. And so in parallel and basis, so we will not mature really the alliance and things like that. But it is also important to prepare the call for mobility and financing it. Finally, well, I'm not sure because it's really very competitive to use Marie Curie scheme. Because now, in the case of PhD, they have extended what presented Bruno Wissunus about the co-fund mechanism. So it is extended to the Marie Curie, but really the chance is very low. It's 1 out of 10 projects which are financed there, so it's really challenging. So I'm not sure that it is worth to make the effort there at the moment. So my proposal then would be that around Joseph, if you agree, of course, we create a task force to really organize a sketch of these different modules. Come to Brussels with your help. We can receive the team in Brussels, have a meeting with people from DGF that we met already with Torsten a few weeks ago. And you see, improve that by, you see, horse and coming and going and speed par des allers-retours, voilà. I think we need to have a real plan for that. And of course, the task force will circulate to some steering committee. Like we are here.
I think that I'm sorry, maybe I'm just invited to this meeting, but sometimes we tend to start to talk a lot about many actions, and as you say, then we don't go to the details and to the possible calls. You should think about 2 or 3 possible actions very clearly, and then we should identify very directly which are the possible funds. For instance, as I was saying, unfortunately, the funds for possible mobilities from overseas to EU countries will only come in 2016-17. We don't know what all the details. We hope that these funds will go directly to the institutions, and we don't know if there will be quotas for different profiles and geographic regions or countries like it used to be in the Erasmus Mundus, or it will be all together like a big bag of money to be distributed to individual institutions. But then we will have to see if it's at the institutional level, which are the priorities set up by, for instance, UPC for our funds and for other EU countries, your university in France or whatever, how to give priority for the different mobilities, either student and staff. This used to happen in the past also, even for some geographical regions in the masters and PhD that were Erasmus Mundus. But this is an action. Maybe, meanwhile, you can think of, it's too short for mobilities in the first semester, but maybe start to organize some potential mobilities in the second semester with some national funds. I know that there are funds in some countries, like now, at least in Algeria or Morocco, for some few mobilities for visits. There are professors that now, for instance, they are coming from some universities, and we could use them to have your research meetings, but also to keep working and discussing about your projects. Apart from these funds for mobility, you could think about the other potential activities, and for this I would give the lead to, of course, Giuseppe and our colleagues of the project service, that they know very clearly and in detail which are the possible activities and actions to be funded by EU, and if a call with all the partners or most of the partners and project for the next call could be organized and started to be prepared. So maybe a meeting with our colleagues could be set up.
Yeah.
Of course, apart from this, there are many other things for which you can discuss to organize things. For instance, there are the colleagues from the Kudu service. It's a UNESCO chair for higher education management. And they usually also work very much within EU projects, for instance, the Old Tempos, to help higher education institutions and other associations to have meetings, for instance, in one specific topic, or either to go to their site or that they come and have a gathering. So this is another potential idea, and we can start to discuss about things like this.
Okay, so I think just to summarize, before you enter, I think we can create this task force for sure. I like very much the idea of a meeting in Brussels, so I suggest, if you see that the timing is fine, to arrange the meeting in September, and then we have now the end of June and July with the task force to prepare properly the meeting.
Yes, but at the same time we need to validate, because the task force will prepare a sketch document,
exactly.
Sorting out what we want to do, but this has to be validated by the Maghreb Consortium, of
exactly.
course. It's not just...
We need something very solid,
and
then we can
then
validate with our people in our relative different institutions. So,
yeah, thank you very much, Berenice. It was very interesting, and this presentation came up really very good at the end of 2 intensive days of exchange, and actually one of the purposes of all actors who are gathered here is to cooperate, and you gave key messages that can be done.
Yes.
So it's very interesting.
I'm sorry because for us too, it's very difficult. We would like to know more about the new funds, but the EU is giving the information few by few, like feeding a small bird or something. And we are like, please, more information.
And I also, I don't know, maybe Joseph already informed you, but next June 2015, in the framework of Magrinov, we are organizing a conference on Erasmus Plus, and I think it will be in Barcelona, maybe?
Or in Barcelona or Paris. It is not
Barcelona
defined
and
yet.
Paris.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, it's, yeah, it comes very well with the planning you mentioned just right now, with the calendar of calls launched. So I think we have time, but we don't have time at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little bit depressing on one side because the call seems away and too far away to start to make things tomorrow.
Yes.
But then if you start to think to have the internal confirmations and so within the consortium, it's not so easy.
I can add, due to the process of launching calls within the European Commission, they will prepare a strategic document for April 2015. After this, it will be impossible to change anything. So it is also important if we want to lobby efficiently toward the Commission to enter our desiderata to them before this period. That is, by the beginning, it's like for the innovation project, before the beginning of 2000, at the beginning of 2015, we should send some messages or wishes to the Commission services. If I identify something on which we are not sure, but we would like to see that the call allow us finance some type of activities.
Because they are now developing the strategy and they're
Exactly.
working on details, and it makes sense.
Yes, usually in autumn they are working on the calls. Sometimes I know, I have not seen them because I know that some other universities in Europe, maybe placed in Brussels or near Brussels, they go there and they have more lobby. But I know that you can send them your ideas and see if it fits one of the call or some of the ideas does not match with the aims and objectives in the call. And usually this is done in autumn, winter, and usually between December and January and February, it's more technical issues for the call and details, and also the procedure to approve the calls is not so short because it has to go from the DG to the Commission and different legal steps before it gets approved and published.
Alhamdulillah.
One remark first is that indeed the European Commission has saved 1 year already with the Erasmus, and they will save 2 years, maybe 3 years for the cooperation with the international things over the 7 years. So it's a good strategy from the earning money somehow in a way.
This is the first thing that I was thinking of. I'm always thinking bad.
Yeah,
But the total budget is voted, so it's just a problem of shifting the money.
Concentrating the money.
Yeah, but for the people who would like to be in, it's still a delay in time. But what I want to say is, I think the thinking should not be somehow limited to the Magrinov partners. Don't forget that there are others who are thinking also doing the same thing. So it's better to think globally than only for the Magrinov. Otherwise, there will be competing projects, and this is I don't think that there will be any gain.
I agree. You were not yesterday. It is one point. Well, in the morning we discussed. It is one of the strategic issues that we have to see whether we embed our action in a broader consideration, and for sure for the alliance and so on. So we need something broad At the end of the day, what we want to see from the Marino point of view is really something which adds value at the interface between technology, science, technology, and the business activity market. So it's crucial for us. So then one part of the thinking that we have to develop is how many students can be educated, trained, what are the needs of industry there, and so, and then it can be a sharing between generic studies or this interface. That's well, of course we are open to discuss, but.
I mean, there's some. We can have some wishes. Sorry, I didn't ask for it. But there are also the wish from the European Commission who would like to see more cooperation between already the existing projects. This is the message we got when we were in Brussels. Please make as much possible as cooperation and connection between the different projects. So this is, I think we have also to take into account the message from the top.
During the last 2 days, we thought about many possible actions that we can candidate or think about under the framework of the Maghreb project. Now, as we saw that we have not enough time to choose which action that have the more like to be chosen by Erasmus. Perhaps I think it is better to choose which action and to design to nominate task force to work hardly during summer and next autumn to be a time and candidate for Maghreb action under the framework of the Erasmus Plus.
Well, I think that we have time because the call with the deadline, as you said, will be in spring 2015. So we have time to. The first thing, due to the new scheme, is to define exactly what we want, and to agree between all of us what we want to achieve, and then look at the different possibilities. We clearly have possibilities, and define our strategy with them. So I think that if in autumn, as proposed by Joseph, we have the first sketch. The problem is that for me, the first sketch, we do not go to the Commission first. I think we have to validate first in Maghreb, and then once it is validated, maybe with our partners also, we can discuss with them. We go to the Commission and see better what kind of instrument is.
But what do you think? It is better to work only on one idea, or perhaps work on 2 or 3 ideas, and in autumn we can choose which idea have more like.
On a à faire un cahier des charges interne sur ce qu'on a envie de faire.
For me, it's very important to know what it is, which could be the best time of the year to have the meeting in Brussels with the officers of the DG. What do you think? Because in this way we can plan how to prepare.
Sooner better, because they are making.
Exactly. So we can influence. No, I assume we can. I mean, I can influence. We can suggest something. So I mean, because we can plan the work in different ways. No? So perhaps if we plan to have this meeting in mid or late September, then we have time from now to July, and then the first half of September to prepare something solid to agree, and then to have the meeting with them, and then to have the possibility to have a feedback, and then to reanalyze, and then to. But I don't know. I don't know when is the correct time, more or less.
I would like also then to speak about two points. We are now discussing the funding of the capacity building. But we have two important issues. First one, because we had also this question, how to create capacity building and which strategy or which initiatives, and then the funding, because it depends also of the strategy, and it depends also of the initiatives. We could have also then the possibility to finance some actions, but we have to know which ones. We have also then to check, because there are also possibilities with companies. If we have to say, for example, if we have then to develop a new master program, it's different as if we have to say we are developing some modules to support master programs, or also then to offer capacity building to companies. Because at this moment we could have also another model to say, okay, some industries or big companies, as for example also OCP. I'm not speaking on behalf of OCP, but we exchanged a lot about this point also with Mr. Benkamoun. They have a fund for R&D in the field of phosphates, but they will have other funds to support also the university. And at this moment, it's very important also then to define and to discuss also about which activities, what we want them to do in the field of capacity building, and then to discuss about funding.
That's interesting. You would like to say something?
I was going to say that, well, in answer a little bit of what he was saying, or what you were saying, of when we can plan and propose to the DG, and also taking the ideas of course, of what we are going to plan, and depending on this, we are applying to this or the other, is that you can foresee a big project, an umbrella, with different key actions and objectives. I would recommend you to think, when I started the past many years ago, to give a little bit of assessment to international proposals for Erasmus Mundus Masters and Doctorates, you have to think like if you had to set up and show a business plan. Okay? Why is this consortium here today? Why are all these universities and companies together? You have to explain this in detail, because I would say that it's one of the strengths of the potential project. And then also, what do you want? What do you have at the beginning? Why will you have this project? And what are going to be the objectives and the tangible things that you will have at the end? The EU insists a lot that the projects are not only individual projects, but also things that help us to build possible relations and projects that could continue after that the money and the project is finished. So it is also interesting to think about it, because we can have a meeting, for instance, and a seminar on something, but of course, if the seminar is just the seminar and this, no, then it goes back to the universities, and then maybe we'll have some periodical meetings, I don't know, for example, once a year or once every, things like this. So always think about the different activities in the possible applications. I'm not an expert, as I was saying, and that is why I would suggest Josep to meet our colleagues from the projects service, and that they assess him, so that you can have more information and in detail in the next weeks what you can prepare for the next calls. There are some items to fill in the application forms. And if I select this, then there is this that can be put. If I select this other, and you remember that you will have to justify the different actions that you will try to perform. It's very important, because these projects are big projects for a minimum of time and amount of money. They usually intend to be big projects with a big planning, and it's important that you also think if it fits for you, because of course to say that we are going to do many things, but after we will have to do them if the project gets approved.
Very good.
So,
Okay, I think that, by the way, we have reached the time. So I think that if you don't have any this Plotayach in the Netherlands, that Plotayach is besides of having a very long experience on European projects in his past position in CEA, he's a person of Key Energy in Brussels. So. So that's relevant. So we want to be in close cooperation with Claude in this project for sure. So well, perhaps I would like to summarize. And do you have something else to say? Because well, first of all, I think it's been very interesting to have here representations of 2 universities from Morocco, research center, 3 universities from Tunisia company. 2 people from Key Energy, people from UPC, people from 2 additional networks that are very interesting. Another R&D Maroc, which is another very important association there. So I think that the workshop has been quite interesting. Certainly, we have to work a lot. I was trying to prepare with my colleagues, Joan, Alex, Alvar, wrap up of the meeting, but at the end we have noticed that there are so many items, so that we have so many items to discuss that I want to prepare a solid report with them offline. So I'm not going to present it now, but this will be available in the Google Drive. So in the Google Drive you will have the access to all the presentations and so. For example, this material, which is sensitive, and well, I would like to appreciate, of course, your participation. And if you want to say something more, I will be pleased.
Would it be possible to ask for candidates for this task force? Because,
oh yes,
I think that
of course.
3 people will be enough. 1 from Kiev, 1 from Tunisia, and 1 from Morocco. So if you agree, we can have these people decided now, because we are sure of the people who will be responsible in the different countries.
And maybe also in charge of this work package.
Yes. Is it possible?
Yeah, for me, it's excellent. If we can agree now, this is something that we can progress on. Because we have next Friday, remember, for the people of Work Package 2, we have next Friday the regular meeting. So, but if we can decide now that this task force that I agree with Claude, that should be different than the steering committee of Work Package 2. Work Package 2 will be informed, but we have to establish a task force on that. So, I don't know, let's start from alphabetical order Morocco. What do you think about if we can agree in having a representative active in the task force?
Who is involved in this work package?
In Work Package 2 is Nadia Moussin, Abdelhak, Hélène Benkevich from Tunisia, Olga, and me. But I think that the task force should be different. I think that the task force we should have, because the universities are not participating in this task force. So we need a different task force, I think. So, would you mind?
And of course, the people from the different parties are the entry point for the different
exactly,
parties,
of course.
different countries.
Perhaps we may say that there is an action item. Perhaps it's good for you if you talk in the plane, in the flight back to Morocco, and perhaps if you talk each other. But I think that this should be an action item for you. I understand, if you agree, for Raja and Mustafa, to agree on a scheme of collaboration for your side, from the Moroccan side, to Hill, Essia, and Maher, to agree on the scheme of collaboration in Tunisia, and then to have one representative each, that we can work effectively, the 3 of us, probably with some meetings with Claude, with people of EPC and so on. No? So perhaps let's do it this way, to please an action item for you, let's say, for next Tuesday, for example, because I would like to have, if it's possible, before the next Friday, before the next steering committee of Work Package 2, to have this task force defined. Okay, so let's say Tuesday or Thursday. The limit should be Thursday. Is that fine for you?
Yes.
Fine for you?
You send an email to recall.
Exactly. Fine for you? Is it good for you, or not? Good? Perfect. And of course, we are open to the participation of package suits. So you have said something relevant, Patrick, to have not only the typical educational actions, to go one step further. So that's important, to identify actions and to explain the officers in Brussels our concept. So I fully agree. So
Thank you very much.
we feel happy, we can close this meeting. We hope to see you in Paris.
Maybe.
And just on behalf of the coordination of the project, I would like to thank all people who came from Morocco, from Tunisia. It was a challenge, a bit from administrative point of view. And really thank you very much to everybody to be there. And for the Resettlement Project for joining us. And for our friends from Morocco. Thank you.
Thank you all.